Hello, 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 and welcome to another Daily Code Fun. Did I have the wrong screen up? No, no, I didn't. It's weird. I had my starting later screen up, and apparently I have the same title on my starting later that I do on my starting soon. Anyway, hi Coding with Scott. Welcome. Welcome to another Daily Code Fun. I am One Lion. We've been working on a financial management project just to have fun, just to play around with Blazor and eventually Maui. We're going to be doing a lot of designing still. Hello, Thindle. I saw you. I saw you in Discord. Anyway, we're going to be doing more with Maui eventually. We're going to be doing a lot of designing for the app, as well as attempting and trying really, really, really hard to do test-driven development. I'm not great at it. I'm not I'm not even sure I know how to mentally approach TDD. So hopefully by doing design first, we will be able to come up with tests next. And yes, what's up, Thindle? You know more about the subject than I do, but I don't think I said something wrong. Huh? Oh, about Blazor, about Maui. Yeah, you're good. I agreed with your statements. Yes, absolutely. So in Discord, Broken Sword, a prominent member of our community who made the bot that we're using on Discord, he made Cookie Monsters and Dwellers and Fire Effects. What did he do? He asked a question in Discord about what exactly Blazor Hybrid is, and I gave him my take on it, which is that Blazor essentially he asked two questions actually. You know what? Let me go ahead and bring them up because they were great questions in my opinion. Okay, I'm gonna cover up my answer because I don't want to just read off my answer. I want to say it again. Can someone explain to me what Blazor is? For example, what is an embedded web view control? Are we basically just opening the web through an app? Is that what Blazor Hybrid is? So my personalized answer that I gave is that I started with a web view control because the confusion that a lot of people have is that if you put a web view control in your you couldn't even see it on screen, but I read it out loud anyway. Um, if you put a web view control, I'll look at you. If you put a web view control on a desktop app, then you're doing something web related where you're getting web pages from the internet. And that's a misconception. What you're actually doing is putting a control in your app that is able to render HTML to your screen. So, hello, Zulius. So, what you're doing in essence with a Blazor web view or WebView 2 that is loading a Blazor static site, a Blazor server page, whatever, is you're using the Razor engine on .NET, like the full .NET runtime, to render your Blazor components into HTML or do the diffs that are needed to update your current HTML and display that within whatever application you want, whether that's a mobile app, a web application, obviously, and a desktop app, Mac OS, Windows, iOS, Android, Tizen on watches, and I don't know what else Tizen is on. I really should look up whether that includes their TVs, Samsung's TVs or not. But anyway, point is that the WebView control is not saying you're creating some kind of server and fridges. Nice. So yes, watches, TVs, and fridges. And older Samsung watches. TVs. I don't know why that's older because it seems kind of like it should be new. um, so yeah, you're not like spinning up a web server. You're just using the .NET runtime and the same technology that's used in browsers to render HTML as content on a page. But you're not necessarily running a server. You could be. You could go out to the internet and get a website and then get that content into your web view. But you could also just be running your application directly on that .NET runtime and producing HTML. So one drawback from that is if you're writing all of your content for your application in a Blazor component, you're essentially making the look and feel that you want. So it'll still kind of have that look and feel of a web application, even though it's running locally, even though you have access to all of the system resources. But you're not going to have the same kind of swapping out the components the way that Maui does it. Where if you're using a Maui control and you say, I want a Maui button, then when you ship it to Android, you're going to get Android's rendering, Android's actual native button. So it'll feel like an Android app. It'll look like an Android app. So yeah, that was my answer for that. And then I provided a video link that kind of goes into more information about it. There's plenty on YouTube's, but yeah. Oh, Gear OS is the thing that replaced Tizen on watches? Cool. Good to know. That's actually a consideration we may have to make. Because one thing that I was thinking is that we would have kind of a financial management tracking app that is for the watch. You know? Where did this go? This needs to move. That's what happened. Okay, so anyway, we're going to jump into the app now. As promised, design, design, design. So let me show my screen after this person stops walking behind me. No, you're good, Thindle. I mean, unless you want to be known for doing that, you really don't have to call it out very often. You're just typing. Type it, type it, type it. Thank you for your input on it. It was very informative, and I appreciated the input. Although Zulia said, you filthy spammer. Laters. Big smiles. Big old smiles. Would a financial tracking app on a smart watch say that you should have bought a cheaper watch? Yes, absolutely. No, this would be something like, let's say that you just made a purchase at some store. You're wearing your fancy smartwatch and it's I don't know. Like we definitely have to connect the app to your actual. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this would be more of a use case for the way that we're going to write the app so far, where it's not connected to any external accounts like your banking website or anything like that. You have to put everything in manually. This would be something like you just made your purchase and you want to log it in your watch because you don't want to do it later or something. I don't know. So some kind of touch interface that's like add a payment, and then you select from a list of stores, the date and time, or just date, I guess, and then the amount using like some really nice input. Something easy to enter that transaction into your financial tracking system from your watch, kind of thing. Ow, ow. But before we do that, I still have this set up database branch And I believe we are done setting up our database structure and everything like that. So what I want to do is merge this into master. Not sure where these changes came from. That was the most recent comment that I put in here, but then I undid those changes that I wasn't sure where they came from. So yeah. Um, so we're going to merge this branch into master, and I'm going to do that by doing a pull request, by viewing this branch online. How do we view it online? I thought that there was an easy way to get to the GitHub project from Visual Studio, like a view online kind of thing. I bet you if we go to history, we could do a pull request from here. Nope. Huh. Well, that's no fun. Okay, well, we'll just go to the interwebs and axe it. Hacha. For GitHub, 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 and it's right here. And switching to this branch, pull request, pull request. I'd like to create a new pull request from setup to master. Wow, I don't think I've ever done this manually, so this is kind of throwing me. I am trying to push our changes to setup database into master. Yes, this is the correct way to do it. Wow, it's breaking my brains a little. Hello, Irish John Games. I just saw you over on Big Gaming's channel. I'm lurking over there too. Thanks for lurking here. Really appreciate having you. Your presence, your energies, absolutely cool. Coolness. Brain. I'm just afraid to push this create pull request button. Set up database. The end. Create pull request. Review required. And did I block being able to? What? Did I block being able to self-approve? Am I logged in? I'm logged in. I might not be able to approve my own code. When did I turn that on? Oh, automated rounds. We're gonna need you. How do we do that? We go collaborators. I don't know what my password is. Yeah, should I just do that? Because I don't remember turning that on. Um, It's in branches. Why don't I see require a pull request before merging, require approvals? Okay. Maybe I did turn that on. I bet you if we go and watch the first video back that I created this repository, I checked a box to require approvals. Okay, I do want review from code owner, but oh my gosh, I still need that. I don't know what that is. Oh no, and we're already done with our window swap. Forget you, window swap. Don't be mean to me. That's right. That was really, really bright. I don't know if you could tell. Okay. Hopefully that's saved. It looks like it's saved. Hey, pull requests. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I approve. We're going to merge. We're going to delete the setup database branch. I'm going to go back over to here. I've got to switch to Bather. I don't know what happened to my nose, but it suddenly pogged. Did you say pogged? No, I said plugged. All right, get my latest. And this should have database, 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 data helpers, find name and context with all of our changes, our migration. Cool, so everything is there. Pogged. Hello, Moonyak. So yes, everything looks good. I'm gonna delete my local branch. Why didn't you ask me if I was sure? All right, you want to delete it? Delete it. Fine, it's gone. Okay, so we have our database set up. Our next steps are to design and yeah, just design the cookies. Gosh, my brain today. This is not going to be good. I'm quite a bit distracted. I'm not even going to say a little bit distracted. I'm very distracted here. I has an interview in a little bit. I wish those 14k euros were deposited to your account. Mails I keep getting weren't just phishing. I could really use that kind of money. That is quite a bit. Quite a bit. So we want to design what our screens might look like for interacting with the app. We have two choices. We have many choices, but of these choices, the two that I'm really thinking about are we can either design our processes, our code flow when we perform certain interactions. Actually, what are the interactions that can be performed and what do they do? Or we can design some user interface stuff. Where are we? We're somewhere down here. Can, nope. Oh, yeah, you can. Okay. So we can design the screens. We We can design the screens, or we can design the code flow. So by code flow, what I mean is we would have processes like when you perform a transaction, when you are paying for something, logging that you paid for a thing, what are the steps that happen? So I guess in essence, those would be use case diagrams. I kind of want to do screens. Like, what are the actual pages that we'll be interacting with? I don't even have anything in mind at the moment. So, any votes? Anyone at all? Because if not, I'm just going to go ahead and get started on doing screens. Which I could use a tool like Adobe UX or Figma or anything else, but I'm just going to draw by hand and make it ugly. So what screens would we possibly have? Is that too small? That might be too small. If I would understand it, I would vote for sure. So do we want to write the logic first or design the back end logic first, or do we want to design the front end user interface first? That's all. That's all I'm asking. Because a couple approaches that we can take are start with the user interface, show that stuff, and then add the logic behind, or start with the library that's going to do the logic that will be triggered by interacting with user interface. And so Munyak is voting for logic first. So how would you approach that? Because I can definitely see the screens before I can see the functions that the app would be performing. I guess I can just list those functions. So no, Munyak, don't change your mind. I was gonna go with that. I was gonna attempt it. Yeah, making the views first and then hooking up the back end. I mean, it's kind of like a back and forth process. So in this case, what I think I would have done, and even before doing any coding, of course, what I think I would have done is sketched out a few screens and then figured out what logic I'm going to need in the back end to handle the functionality that those two screens would provide the user with. Let's put this closer to me. I don't like leaning over so much. Okay. So I'm still open to either approach. I'm leaning to doing the UI first, but I'm still open to trying to do the logic first. I'll give you some more time. Like maybe 20 seconds or so while I drink more water. Like, I think the difficulty for me is I just am not really thinking about all of the possible functionality that I could have. And the way that I think I could get there is by sketching out what I know I would want in my user input portion of it and user interactions. So time's up. I'm going with UI because I'm lame. Okay, so screens, by screens, I mean what pages are going to be available to the user. Yeah, Munyak says that's what I would think about as well. I have an agreement. Okay, so some pages that the user would have. Model first, I like to know what my objects would look like and what the relationships they'll have, but that's me. You took too long to answer coding with Scott. We're going with UI. I will be thinking about that though. As I'm putting these ideas together, I will be thinking about what kinds of models I would need to display the information on the page. Oh, Zulius chimes in. Zulius says UI first probably gives you a more streamlined design, while backend first lets you think more of features as you go, but also comes with the danger of feature creep. No, you're completely okay. I'm joking. I'm sorry. I did not mean to make you feel bad. That little sad faced. Oh, it makes me cry. It breaks my heart. Okay, so some screens that we're gonna have are the I don't know what to call it. Payment entry. There it is again. And I'm laughing because I'm trying not to cry at the face. So payment entry is going to be used for entering. Oh my gosh, I cannot spell when I'm writing by hand. Who here has written by hand recently? And by hand, I mean like digitally or whatever, but using a pen in some way. So enter, and by the way, this is what I'm writing on. This thing here. In case you're wondering, I really want to find a way to get like a boom arm or something that I can mount this to, so I can pull it close to me. But yeah, so entering payment details for a transaction where the payee is not another tracked account. That go way off screen. It sure did. Where the, and then everything over here was too far. Right, I turned off touch. There. Okay. Okay. The next one is the it depends how many years does recently cover. Whatever recently feels like to you. It feels like it's been a million years for actually before this, it feels like it's been a million years for me. I guess I did write the check for the landscaping. Yeah. So weird. So weird to think about. How many people go months without using a pen or pencil or other writing utensil to hand write a thing? Oh. Anyway, transfer entry. And this is going to be entering transaction information for moving. And in this case, like the only thing that we're really talking about here is money. I'm not considering other assets unless the asset itself is like a an account. So for example, your home you may list as home instead of your mortgage or your escrow or whatever you want to call it. So for moving money, from one account. Again, going off screen. Turn touch back on. To another. Another one that is going to be important is history. Transaction history. Transaction history. Whoa, I have a message. What's this phone? I have two phones now. It's so weird. I got a work phone, I got a personal phone, and I only use them for texting. Wait, I reset that. Oh, no, I didn't. I submitted a ticket because I couldn't reset that. That's on you guys. My password expires and I get locked out. I blame you. Okay, so we have a tracking history. That's pretty much just a fancy looking page that has a table with transaction history information. And another screen. So I already have this, and like these three. Wait, there is a fourth. There is a fourth that I currently have, and that is my deposit entry. And so deposit entry is entering transaction information from an external source into a, oh, I don't know what to call it, a money holding account. A moneyable. Hey, that started. Yeah, so I guess this really is into an account. So the problem with this wording for me, the reason that I'm kind of hesitating on it is because if you have a credit card, when you make a purchase, you're kind of doing the depositing money into your credit card. You're increasing the amount of money for the credit card account. So, I mean, I'm sure we understand what I mean by deposit. It's when you're moving money into a checking or savings or some account that increases in value, meaning that you have more money. I don't know. I don't know. Because that's even a bad definition because what happens when, stop it, people. What happens when you have something like your home loan and you have equity? You're kind of increasing the amount of money you have in that account by decreasing the amount of debt you have in that account. Anyway, the reason that I put these down so easily is because I have my Access database that currently has 3 tabs, and those 3 tabs are the payment entry, which I don't even know what I called that, just data entry, I think. A second tab that is the transfer from one account to another, and a third tab that is the deposit from like paychecks, refunds. What else do I put in there? I put like 3 things, or enter 3 things in there. Oh, like savings interest. That stuff goes in there. But what else would we want in this application up front? Again, a simple version of a full financial management application, we might want to be able to see the account balance over time for all of our accounts. And right now what I call that is, it's an Excel workbook. That's just called tracker. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a calendar page where you select an account. You can see what. So yeah, that one I'm going to have to draw out. I don't know if I can explain that one in words. I'm not good with words. And show money amounts on a calendar like view to see what the increase was over time, and then like time that has already passed is grayed out or muted. It's like, this is the past, this is what your money did, and then time in the future is kind of like normal regular font, not muted. So here is our current day, here's your next anticipated paydays or days that you're going to have money going into your account, here are scheduled payments that are coming out of your account, that specific account that you're looking at. But yeah, you'll see it when we get there, because we will get there. So let's start with the payment entry page, because that's pretty easy. Let's draw some pictures. So payment entry is just going to be, so yeah, like the overall design, maybe I should start with that. No, I'm terrible at that. I'm just going to sketch out the content for the payment entry. So payment entry, sketch. This is a sketch, okay? It's not supposed to look like the actual thing. I could just use a square, That's no fun. Enter payment details might be the header. I don't know. And then we'll have something like a purchase date or payment date, or but it needs to be distinguished. So transaction date, which is going to be a date time, or it's going to be a date field. I keep saying date time, which is going to be the typical, here's your calendar. And I just really, really want to find a good calendar picker, because I really don't like the built-in calendar picker when binding to things. Is one of these like, yeah. And so that will be able to be localized, so it doesn't have to be month, day, year. But for now, I'm just putting that there as like, here. It will have some placeholder text that will be specific to your locale. And for me, that means month, day, year. In the US, by default. Unless you're a sequel. In which case, it's year, month, day. Or government, which is day dash 3-letter month dash 4-digit year. But anyway, you'll be able to choose. I love customization, so I will leave it up to you to choose what format you want to view dates in, what format you want to view currency in, etc., etc. So when I put the currency here, I will put USD, but plans are to make sure that it is able to be localized, so you can put in whatever your currency happens to be. So we have the transaction date, we have the payee, which is going to be a select list. Whoa! Hey, it's Seagal. I mean, Seagal. Is it Seagal or Seagal? Anyway, thank you so much for re-upping your sub. Or actually, is this your first time subbing? That's crazy. And you used your Prime sub for me? Oh, that's so nice. That is so super nice. I use Unix time. Seconds since January 1st, 1970. Yes, absolutely. Which you can do. You can also do Julian dates. Who likes Julian dates? Do any of you happen to like Julian dates? But anyway, Seagal for the win 3 just subbed using. Yes, I said that already. Thank you for pointing it out, though. I'm not trying to, one, fight with a tool, and two, design the actual page itself. I'm just kind of like, here's a sketch. See this? See this here? Sketch. Plus, I wanted to write, I don't know. But if it does bother you a lot, I can switch over to Figma. But yeah, so this will be a drop-down list from payees. Table. Table. Why not balsamic? I don't think I've ever used balsamic. I mean, I've used it on. Oh, we made this amazing mix. We made a food topic. We made a pita that had some just like some frozen chicken that you would get from, and it's Epic of Sam. How are you a first-time chatter? I have seen you before. Maybe I've just seen you in other people's channels. But hello, Epic of Sam. Yeah, I saw you in Science's stream, I think. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yes, now would be a great time for a couple shout outs. Do I have shout out no clips? Because I kind of don't want to do clips today. Sumimasen. Dashboard. Yes, absolutely. You know what? We have like the best community ever. The software development and software and game development community on Twitch has been just like the best community I have ever been a part of. You guys have been awesome. Everyone supports everyone else. There are, of course, the trolley, nerd sniping kind of things that go on, but it's in good fun. Like from what I can tell, the majority of people that do things like that are doing it in a good spirit. Um, I don't have. No way. I don't have the shout out. No. Maybe I do. Anyway, let's try it. shout out to Science stream. Nope, that's not turned on. I really need to get those turned on. Yeah, I only have my shout outs with clips. Dang it. But anyway, you guys know Science Streams. You know Irish John Games, another fantastic streamer. I was lurking over on Zatch Fire. Are you sure? Are you sure shout out is not a thing? Sorry, Zach Fire, I think. Nope, nothing. Anyway, you can see his username there. Another cool guy doing some game development. It's a card collecting game where you're also considering what do I play at this turn and move. Fun stuff. Yeah, I do have an SO, but that one is it has a shout out with it or a clip, and I didn't want to do clips because that's like 80. And I could have sworn that I had a shout out no clip. Like the other ones that I definitely have are Captain and Irish John Games' game on Steam, and oh yeah, what's his face? Simple Game Dev, his game on Steam. Oh, such a good looking game. But yeah, anyway, point is, we have a bunch of really, really amazing and awesome people in our community, all supporting each other, all heckling each other on occasion. But yeah, so much love, so much fun. So anyway, this comes from our payees table, and this is going to be someone like Walgreens. We do, and I've gotten great support. I started streaming because of Science. Epic of Sam also streams, so I guess since this is a first time, let's check to see if you have any clips.
Woo!
But not game dev. You are cool enough. Oh, I love Match 3 games. I get so
I have a
addicted
lot
to
of
them.
fun playing it.
Me too. No, it cut off before. Puzzles and strategy games mostly. Awesome. Awesome times. Good stuffs. Absolutely. Absolutely, positively. So that was Epic of Sam. For those of you on the YouTubes, I'm sure you could see the name and stuff. So yeah, let's continue on with this page. One thing that I need to keep in mind is what exactly do we need to have for our transactions? And yes, all of this again would still be better in Figma. I am well aware, or in an actual UML diagrammer. But a transaction will also need, of course, the transaction details, but wasn't there like a category? Right, the category actually goes with the payee. So not worried about that on this screen. which means a bunch of other screens that we need are those maintenance pages. Let's put this here. Okay, so I guess that means that I would want an easy way to indicate that we are running a shop. That was terrible. Oh, oh, that still looks horrible. Yes, it at least looks like a plus sign. Anyway, so an add button that we can easily create a new payee. The other thing that could happen is if you enter a payee that doesn't exist, it could just allow you to type that and use it right off the bat. So you can enter anything you want, but it would need to at least indicate if typed value is not in list, change color and display message, which means that all of these are going to have kind of this little buffer space. I'm going to write it like this. So there's always going to be a section underneath that is going to have space for, a short message. So display a message indicating it will be created. What word is that? Crashed? Cached? Created on save. So, for example, if I'm typing in Walgreens and I've never added something to Walgreens, hello? I heard a noise I am wholly unfamiliar with. Did anyone else hear that? Was that just me? You know what? It's probably on the Visual Studio channel. Sorry. Because I have Teams open and I'm not familiar with the noises that Teams makes. I have Zoom open on my work laptop, and I have the Visual Studio channel open because they're talking about this new abstraction, I guess, or a new, what did they call it? Yeah, a new system.data abstraction. And hello, smoking weed at work. I said weed dat. Smoking weed dat. Smoking weed at work. Hope you're doing fantastic on this Wednesday. It's hump day. It's hump day. It's hump day. Welcome to the day. We are working on the UI design, and it's just a sketch. I am purposefully not using Figma and other tools that are used for doing UI design because I just felt like drawing. Who needs finance help? Nobody, ever. But anyway, so we're gonna have this space here for any messages that is maybe in this color. Ever. Ever. This payee will be created on save. I don't know. I need a good message for this eventually, but it's like this payee does not exist. Yeah. Depends on how much space we actually have for this, and will be created on save. But we'll have some kind of message down there. Okay, the other things that we need are adding line items to a transaction. So we have something like, oh, wait. I like having the memo first because we're going to have essentially a box or a list underneath as we add transaction details. And so I want all of my single line data entry things to happen first. And then the next thing that I would add is the data entry. Here's a list of transaction details. So the memo would be next. And the memo is going to be a longer than normal text, but still shorter than a paragraph. It's not like you're fully describing what this transaction is for. Like yesterday, I went to the market, and you're writing a story all about that transaction. No. You can do that. You can do that later on your own time. Maybe you can write a story about every single one of your transactions, which will prevent you from spending money because you're like, well, the next time that I do a financial transaction, I'm going to have to write a 6-page paper on it. Or maybe that would make you want to spend more money because you like writing. Anyway, Abita says, if I had more finances, that would solve some of my issues. Absolutely. Says Epic, or for sure, I guess. I don't want to misquote. For sure, says Epic of Sam. Just like that, too. I could use help in getting finances to help. What? um, anyway, so here's where our transaction details are going to happen. We select a line item, and this is going to be stuff. Whoa, that is a very big field. This is going to be stuff like the subtotal. So obviously from line item type table. Oh my gosh, my writing is going downhill. Like it wasn't good to begin with, but it's getting worse. All right, so this will be something like sub. Whoa, it's actually part of it, not a lot of it. Definitely add a shame feature to the app, yeah. Overspending limit. Shame. What did you just buy? Shame. Why aren't you writing? It's like overheating or something. Subtotal or tax or something of that nature. And then I added something that I don't normally have, or not normally. It's just that I don't currently have it in my my database, my Access database version of this. And it was something to do with a descriptor of the transaction detail line item type. Did we put that in the database? And I just didn't update my design? Yeah, I did. Oh my goodness, this is really hard to select stuff. I told you I didn't want to fight with the tool. I just put it there. Put it there. Okay, so because of that, I will have a data entry field for the description, or I guess like detail or something, which is just a text field. Isn't it beautiful? And this is something like, actually, if I put text in here so that our example is more clear, then this would be something like sales tax or county tax or state tax. So you can have multiple tax line items, but for different types of taxes. That's the intent behind that. And then this is going to be the currency indicator localized. And then we'll provide some way to switch between currencies. So let's say that you were traveling to a foreign country and you didn't want to do the conversion in your head. That's kind of hard. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. That's a lie. Because I was going to say the app could connect to some kind of API that says, get me the conversion rate from your whatever you're tracking, or from the other currency to whatever your primary currency is. That's going to be tough. And then the actual amount. Okay. And add button. This is a button. This is a website. And then this will be some kind of table or something that just shows transactions. So line item type, detail, amount, $2. I want my $2. Okay, so essentially this is what the data entry page is going to look like for a transaction. It's just a sketch. It's just an idea. It can be refined. I'm sure there are better ways to lay out the controls, but that's that page. The next page, well, how far down did I go? Okay, the next page that we can look at is the transfer. Transfer? Which one did I write down next? So many noises coming from everywhere. So many noises. Transfer. Good. And so, like, if I was doing this myself and I wasn't trying really, really hard to follow a more structured approach, I'd already be sketching these pages out in code. And I think that that's like something that a lot of us have gotten used to. So I don't know if there is going to be a massive benefit to sketching it out on paper and then maybe iterating through it for such a small app. But I could definitely see where this is beneficial for larger teams. My favorite thing that happened recently was when I started this job with Sagetti. The project that I got put on had a designer that had all of the screens in Figma, and all I had to do was take those screens, write Blazor components, HTML, CSS, some C# functionality so that they behave the way that we were expecting them to behave. And it was so nice. Like the actual development experience was just super, super nice. I'm just going to keep talking about that because I've never had an experience like that before and I love it. And I hope you all get to enjoy something along those lines at some point in your life. So the transfer page. Transfer money. Honey. No, that's terrible. Yeah. Okay. So obviously we want the transfer date, which is also going to be a calendar. This is what calendar looks like, by the way. I don't know if you know, but this is exactly what a calendar control looks like. Like, it feels like I'm looking at a web page right now. Whoops. Pipe. Did you know that we're supposed to use pipes between our date segments? On the purchases, do you really care to separate sales tax? Exactly. So it's not just about me. If you wanted to, you could enter every single transaction for yourself as just I can't move around the whiteboard anymore. You could enter everything in as just a subtotal, or the total, the total. Okay, okay. So everything broke, everything froze. That was a good time. That was a really good time. Thank you for doing that. So the question was on purchases, do you really care to separate sales tax? Will you ever report on that? And my response is that you can, this isn't necessarily my ideals of what you should and shouldn't be tracking. I want to provide the user with options to be able to track whatever it is that they want to track. So for example, if you want to itemize all of your receipts down to the actual item that cost this amount, how much tax was on that one given item, they'd be able to do that with this app. If you wanted to just enter everything as I paid this amount for this specific thing, you can do that. You can also just add one entry. If you want to track the how much you paid for a thing, who cares about the tax? What was the total amount for that thing? But I do want to track how much of that was in service fee, or how much of that was a tip, or maybe doing donations and charitable stuff. Then you could do that as well. So whatever combination you decide you want to track as the user. Okay, so when we're transferring money, we have the transfer date. I don't know. Would it be a bad, yeah, this is where I would need an actual UI designer. Would it be a bad user experience if on the transfer money page you have the memo? Yeah, I'll show you both examples. You have the memo with this nice, so this is going to be the design, by the way. This nice curvy input text box. Yeah, that gold. Um, you have the memo, and then you have the from account. Oh, come on. And the to account. And the actual amount. Okay, so might not be laid out the way that it should, but it would be in this order. Transfer date, memo, from account to account, amount. An alternative to that would be something more like still the date, so transfer date, but the from account so that it matches the regular transaction data entry, which would mean that this is the target account. Or the to account, right? And these are drop downs. And then underneath you would have memo. Whoops. That says memo, I promise. And account amount. And I guess something, now that I'm doing this, something that I forgot over here is the account. So I'll have to figure out where to put this. But this is going to be the account that you're paying from. And of course, a submit button somewhere would be nice. Having some kind of submit. I guess all I have to do really is move this thing over. Okay, so then that would put amount and then the account from a drop-down list and the submit button next to it. And this would match the screen. So this payment details screen, dang it, would then match this screen for the most part if I do it with the second version. But I still think that this would be kind of confusing. I would prefer to have the from account and to accounts next to each other. Yeah, we'll find out. That'll be fun to figure out. What other screens did I say? We also have the deposits. Deposit. So then, depending on what we decide for the transfer, that's going to be similar here where we have the deposit date. And there are some things that now in the back of my mind I'm still thinking about that I have not included on here, which are when we first submit the transaction or a transfer or a deposit, do we want to have an option on screen to have it be pending? Do we want the post date field in here? Because our pending is going to be decided by there is no posted date. So posted date is null. In which case that transaction does not take effect, but we could still display it as money that's used or gained in a given account. So anyway, that's something to keep in mind. So date of transaction or date of deposit, which is our fancy calendar. Oh, it gets better every time. Why do I keep wanting to put a pipe after date A? Probably because I want to start typing year immediately. Copilot, why aren't you picking up these changes? You should be able to predict what I'm trying to write. To account. I wonder if deposits and transfers should have another lookup table, like reason or something. Because in my current database, I'm just using the transaction table or the transaction type, line item type table. And I have a flag in that line item type table that says for deposits only. And that would be a reason, a line item type of something like paycheck. And that way I can filter this list by deposit line item types that are deposit only. But here I'm kind of thinking that I want a deposit reason. Which I'll have to come up with a better name than deposit reason. But that'll be something like regular paycheck. I don't know. And then amount. Oh, and then memo and then account. And again, we'll have our localization money indicator. Yeah, which this also needs a posted date of some sort. Ooh. And this is about the point that I'm like, do I really want to keep sketching this out on paper? I kind of just want to write some code, but I'm going to stick with it. This is called over-engineering. Oh my gosh, you couldn't even see that last bit. Do, 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 do. Okay. So that's in essence our deposit. entry form. Okay, so we're getting into something more interesting now. We have our transaction history, I think. Is that the one that I wrote next? Yeah, transaction history. Beautiful handwriting. That you can definitely tell that this says history. Absolutely. Um, okay, so transaction history is going to be fairly simple. You select the account and then I don't know, should we have the account as a dropdown so that we can just quickly switch between accounts? Should we have a consolidated view so that we can... I kind of like this idea. Um, Let me know what your feedback is if you have any. No pressure. So what I am thinking of is what it would be like to eat a pizza whole. Like, not even whole. No, like if you took a pizza, normal round, let's say flatbread pizza. Flatbread pizza. And you cooked it. And you roll it up after cooking it, like rolling it over itself, and you ate it like a burrito. I think those are called Hot Pockets. Um, so account. I don't know what is up with the first part of my lines. Straight across. Oh my gosh. That was terrible. It looks worse on that screen than it does on this screen. Um, I'm at an angle, okay? So here's my thought. We can have an account drop down, and that can have something like multiple accounts selected. And when you mouse over, hover will display accounts list. And when you drop down, the actual drop down view is that still on screen? It is. Okay, so the actual drop down view will have a checkbox for checking, checkbox for savings, checkbox for credit. So all of your accounts will appear in here and you can have them either checked or unchecked so that you can filter. And of course the select all, deselect all, which would be up here. And then if there is only one selected, right? Can we copy? So that's something I haven't tried to do. Excuse me, I would like to paste now. There we go. Cool. Okay, so if only one is selected, then the text in the drop-down box will be the selected account. And this could potentially have a scroll bar. Oops. I'm trying too hard. Okay, you can't see that, but anyway, if there is only one account selected in this drop-down box, so I am very skewed. Like I'm looking down at this thing, so it looks like a straight line from here. It's way angled, but doesn't matter. If you have one selected, then it'll say checking or whatever you called that account. If you have multiple selected, then it'll say multiple accounts selected. Maybe we can come up with a way that if there's enough room to display the names of all of them that are selected, it'll just put a comma separated list. Or maybe it'll just do the whole comma separated list with an ellipses. I think there's only one L in ellipses. I could be wrong. But yeah, comma separated list with ellipses if it doesn't fit. And then when you mouse over, it'll still show you the full list. Okay, so then we have the actual purchase date or transaction date. Posted date. Payee. Reason. And total. And this will be some kind of grid or table. And it'll have alternating rows, hover, all of the standard things you would expect to have in some kind of grid. Sorting, filtering. And if multiple accounts are selected, right, then add account column. So if there are multiple accounts selected, add the account column to this thing. Maybe a memo column. And essentially, when you don't have a when an item is selected, you have two views. You have the selected item. So depending on your localized format. Two L's. This is not a commercial for Walgreens. Exactly $35. So when it is expanded, it will have a hide details link. Otherwise, it'll show the transaction items. So line item type. We added a description on it, which I ended up calling, what did I call it? Detail. And then the amount for that one. And this is something like sub total, which is $33. Tax, sales, $2. And that's it. That's all that would get shown there. And then a non-collapsed row, I mean a non-selected row, non-expanded row would look like, let's go date descending by default. Transaction date descending. Twitch. $5.23. I bet you can't guess what that is. And a show details link that will expand it for us. The other thing that we might want is the account running total. I don't know if that would be important, but it kind of sounds like it would be. So we're going to need a clever way to get the account total after that transaction is applied. Which means that we're not going to be able to just use, go through this list, iterate through it, and keep track of the running total, because that running total is going to change when you filter the list. And so it'll be incorrect. And we don't want that. So that'll be fun. I keep saying things are going to be fun. Did I really mean that? That'll be an interesting thing to try to figure out. But yeah, so that's kind of the basics of the transaction history page. And then the calendar page, I don't know that I really want to sketch this one out, but we're going to try. So this is what I'm kind of envisioning. And it could be completely just out there. It could be woo-woo, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with being woo-woo and out there, and also telling my radio menu to pop up. Excuse me, radio menu. Okay, so my calendar view thing would be a page, a really big page. Takes up the entire window. You can put it on an ultra wide and it still wouldn't fit. No. What I'm kind of picturing is you pick the account or accounts, so it'll be the same component that we had before, which the arrow obviously goes opposite what we've had before. So you pick an account or more than one account, And for each account, you'll get a calendar that has the month going down the side. No, I didn't just forget what order the months go in. Why do you ask? Anyway, so we get all of our months and stuff, and across the top we have days. And yes, I am aware of the issues that we would have with putting days across the top, such as in some months don't have a certain number of days. Unless we just go with every day of the month, every month has 30 days. Why don't we just go with that? Anyway, all the way up through 31. And underneath that, if we have monthly recurring bills, oh, which means that I probably want more space for this. This would be easier to do in code than it is in Excel. Okay, so there's going to be a big enough gap for each one of these to have two parts. We will get the... It's really hard to represent this way though. Again, terribly, terribly skewed, but that's okay. You guys will forgive me, right? You don't have to forgive me. Just give me some lines. Just give me space. Give me space, guys. All right. And the point is that if you have recurring bills or scheduled payments, even one-time scheduled payments, scheduled recurring bills, for each day, you will see that information. So for January, for example, let's say that you do your property tax stuff on Jan 1. Then this would have your current amount that you have on Jan 1, which is $10. And this is a savings account, of course. And then like your some icon, some SVG, some icon, some colored thing that indicates you have a bill due. And you could have multiples on the same date. So you have another icon indicator thing that is you're also going to gain money on this day. And then another icon that says, well, you are going to forfeit all of that money because it goes directly into your Roth IRA. And so every day would continue like that. You would be able to see these are the days that I have recurring bills. You can mouse over the recurring bill or deposit or whatever. And you will be able to see, hover, and you'll see the details of it. Details. So that's what I'm thinking of for a calendar view. And this way, days that have already passed. Oh, right. And then you would also want to pick the year. Okay. So you pick the year, you get to see your calendar for that year. You can hover over things. Maybe instead of just picking year, you could pick date range. Which means that our component would need to kind of be able to give you different views. So if you only pick a week, like 1 week out of the entire year, or 3 months, or just one full month, we might present the display differently, kind of like how Outlook does, kind of like Vindictus. Um, yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got as far as UI design. So that was fun, wasn't it? No? So we have some concepts. We have some ideas of what our main screens could look like for this application. So now we can start thinking of the underlying data structures for these. That's where my brain wants to go next. Whoa, zoomed in too far. So for example, and view model for the payment entry screen could be our payment entry view model. Yeah, I still want this to be like a transaction. Just call them transactions. But anyway, payment entry view model. And this would be an object that has all of the fields that would be displayed there. So I guess we'll go ahead and write it out anyway. Dang it. I don't want to date, time. And so these are the ones that I would be super comfortable with having data annotations on because they will have validation applied to them. So right now it'll be a nullable date time. That's called transaction date. And a payee. And so for us, this payee is actually going to be the payee ID for our property, oops, which is going to be an int. Which is required. We're going to have a memo, string memo, nullable string memo. And this is also nullable. So the whole reason that I'm making these nullable is so that we can do stuff like initially have those fields blank, even though they are required fields. And then we're going to apply essentially the same string length constraint that we have on the data table, which I think is 255, but we'll have to look that up. And the thing that makes this different than the database entity, well, two things. One, we're allowing nullable fields, and two, when we get down to this section here, we're going to have a list of transaction detail view model. And this is where it's kind of like, maybe I do want to use the database entity here because we aren't needing any extra information. Actually, yeah, we do. we need the line item type name. Yeah. Okay, so never mind. Just kidding. Line items. And then the selected account. Oh, right. Date, time, posted date. And this is going to have, if we use Fluent API, we'll be able to write a rule that says that this needs to have at least one item. Okay, so date, time, question mark, posted date. And selected account. And this one's going to be required. I did it again. When I write ID, I definitely like to put capital I, capital D. Cool. And that would be it essentially for our pay entry view model, because we're also going to have a line item. And on this actual page, we're going to have like that line item detail and amount. That's going to be an empty, initially empty line item view model. Transaction detail view model, my bad. And then this is going to be a list of transaction detail view models. So that line item detail view model is going to exist in the component for the data entry part of it, but then this is going to be part of my payment entry view model. So transaction detail view model. And what this is going to look like is the transaction ID, int, nope, line item type ID. And actually, why don't we just use the line item type itself? So again, this is an instance where should I use the lookup line item type? Or should I create a model that maps my database entity to my line item type? I don't know. Because the only thing that I really want from it, yeah, I'll just do it like this so I don't have to make that decision, is the line item type ID and the string. And notice neither of these are null. Line item type name. And then the string detail, which is nullable. And the amount, which is not nullable. Which, what are we going to represent money amounts with? I think in the database we ended going with decimal. And here we can have a total, a running total, which will be a read only from line items dot sum. So the payment entry view model will have a read-only property that can give us back our running total, which we want to display somewhere. Like here, for example. And that would automatically update as we add line items. Hello, Zoltra Lord. Konnichiwa. I'm sorry, what? Konnichiwa. So that would be all of our models that we need for the transaction data entry page. There will be a dialog probably when we click on the plus sign. Ooh. The other issue is my payee ID could potentially be null if the user submits their payment or submits this payment details with a payee that doesn't exist in the list. So I think that we might just want to prompt the user when they hit submit, if the payee doesn't exist in the list, for them to either select the payee from a list of possible matches or say, do you want to create a new entry from this a new payee from this value? Yeah. On save, if payee not in list, prompt to pick match or create new. A search model with add new option would be most fancy. Yes. So kind of a dialogue that opens up and beautiful. Oh, that's a perfect square. And it says, oh, and it's a dialogue. So it has a title and not a dismiss button. Instead, an OK cancel. Actually, a cancel OK. Or just have a giant Google ad pop up, go full screen right in the middle. Yes, exactly. No. And I don't know what title to put here. Some clever title. Some cool title. I can write. The payee entered does not exist. Did you mean? I don't know, maybe a drop-down list. Possible matches. Or create. Yeah, this is totally not designed at all, but these are all of the things that I would want to have in this dialog. Create new. Create new. New. What? Epic fail. From value. Okay, so you have a big old button that says create new from value or pick from one of the these are possible matches kind of things. So that'd be fun. Another thing that is going to be fun that, again, I don't want to overcomplicate it, but I'm excited about it because I want to practice this, is as we see, like, as this app learns your spending habits, it may pre-fill in information, kind of like the way that Copilot does. Um, and then you would say, yes, I actually did purchase stuff, and here's the amount that I paid. So, like, for me, for example, this wouldn't be in a scheduled transaction kind of thing, or in a yeah, I think I call them scheduled transactions. But every Thursday I do groceries. And so the app would see this pattern and already have my data entry form for groceries entered, and then it's just waiting for me to put in the um, subtotal amount, sales tax, service fee, delivery fee, and tip. And then if I didn't actually order groceries that week, or I ordered it on a different day, I could update the transaction date, or I could just, in the first case, just delete it. Be like, no, I didn't. I didn't do groceries this week. Thanks for trying, though. Hey, Thindle started streaming. Awesome. Transaction guesser, Skynet. You pass in Skynet to your transaction guesser, and yeah. And again, please keep in mind that this is not connected to any of your actual financial accounts. So we can't do things like, let's just go and read your credit card history or something. At least not yet. Because if you want something like that, then just use Mint or something. This is just simple homebrew financial management tracker. Kind of see what your money is doing without putting it out on the internet. Okay, so that was a good thought for that. You want to see how many times I eat noodles every month? Don't deny it. Yes. Even though I'm saying that this database is going to be connected to local DB, in the background there's a Signal R connection that is broadcasting to my Signal R hub on Azure every time you enter a financial transaction and sends it back to me. And I'm accumulating that data because I want to know everything about you. You found me out. Oh my goodness. Okay, moving forward, I'm gonna say that we're getting close to coding. New noodle tracker, pass in Skynet. We're getting close to being able to write code. As far as the UI is concerned, I don't know that we're going to need to write unit tests for the UI. Like we have BUnit, so we could test the components, but really the test-driven development that I want to do is focused more on the back-end functionality. So once we finish creating all of the underlying models for these pages, we will sketch them out in Blazor and attach the view models and everything like that to them. So we're going to do that in the next video. That's what tomorrow is going to be like. Plus, I'll probably have some information about how today goes. I'm only freaking out a little bit, not much. So you'll find out more tomorrow about that. But for now, I am going to go and grab myself a snack, probably get a coffee, because I'm going to want an extra coffee for today. And yeah, starting next week again, I'll be back in Discord. I haven't been in the Discord community channel because I have been doing a lot of studying and practicing and all that stuff. Thank you so much, Avidus. I don't know if I really want to do well at it, but I also do because I can't help myself from doing the best that I can. But I also am not sure that it's the right move. So I'm conflicted. And that's one of the things that's making it really difficult on me. Plus, it's been really, really hard to get into the academic mindset. like it's a coding interview, and things that you do to practice for coding interviews is practice um, academic problems. That's all that I can call them. I don't know what else to call them. Um, so it's just been hard for me to get back into, all right, let's go over data structures again. What is a good academic way to split a list and then divide and conquer algorithms to do algorithms and stuff like that. And my brain is still really focused on how can I best architect my current project that I'm working on for my current job. And then at the same time, I've also been studying all of the .NET material for the certification, and it's like, how much is too much studying when it's for personal development? The answer could be there is no too much, but who knows? Anyway, that's it. That's it for my time. Um, Thank you for being here. Thanks for passing on the good vibes. Thanks for having fun with me. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time on twitch.tv/oneline. Information in the descriptions below. Smash that like, subscribe, ring the bell notification if you want. Bleh. Bleh. Okay, bye for now. Yesterday's video will be up on YouTube as soon as I stop the stream and tell it to publish. Today's video will be on YouTube tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. Ciao for now. Zeus.